a museum devoted to the art and culture of the Palestinian people. The Palestine Museum US is scheduled to open over the next few weeks in Woodbridge, Connecticut, writes Ed Stannard of the New Haven Register. The museum's director, Faisal Saleh, who was born in Ramallah on the West Bank, hopes the institution will provide a richer sense of Palestinian culture to American audiences. The mission of the museum is to preserve Palestinian history and celebrate the artistic achievement of Palestinians in the U.S. and Palestine and tell the Palestinian story through art and literature and other forms of artistic expression, said Saleh. The Palestinian people are stateless. About 40% of the world's 10.3 million Palestinians live in the West Bank of the Jordan River and the Gaza Strip, which has been occupied by Israel since the end of the Six-Day War in 1967. Though the creation of a two-state solution is supported by the United Nations and the U.S., it has yet to happen. Faisal says the non-profit museum will not be openly political, but will expand upon a narrative of a people who have experienced a great deal of hardship over the last century. Palestine's history will be presented through photographs and art. It will not take any political posture and political position on issues, Judy Alperin, chief executive officer of the Jewish Federation of Greater New Haven, also based in Woodbridge, said, "We see it as a further opportunity for us to build better friends and relationships between our two communities and maybe even more of a cultural exchange. It's a great opportunity for us to show what's possible, that we can not just peacefully coexist, living side by side, but we can extend a hand in friendship." Kirsten Bridge TSCH, Unholden Frostfight Dame 2015, luster and enamel on antique glass, rolled glass shards, church window bordering, heraldic escutcheon, agate slices, lead, 37 12 24 14. From the series already made betwixt and between, 2012 to 16. Cover of the September issue of Art Forum. Following an inquiry from ArtNet regarding a complaint against one of its publishers, Art Forum issued the following statement: "It came to our attention that Knight Landsman was engaged in a close friendship with a former employee which took place well after she left Art Forum in 2012. 4 years after her departure, in 2016, she brought a complaint to our notice and we acted immediately to address it. Despite the fact that she was not an employee of Art Forum, we required that Mr. Landsman attend therapy, and took company-wide steps to address any workplace transgressions. At no time was Art Forum complicit or culpable. In fact, we took her complaint very seriously and used it as an opportunity to strengthen our policies within the workplace." Her subsequent claim for damages, in 2017, 1 year after her initial complaint, appears to be unfounded, and seems to be an attempt to exploit a relationship that she herself worked hard to create and maintain. For its part, Art Forum is proud of its workplace and will continue to ensure that no transgressions whatsoever will be tolerated by any of our employees, under any circumstances. Art Forum is devoted to the freedom of expression and we have no wish to silence anyone, nor will we engage in any attempts to do so. Aristotle's Lyceum, one of the sites for the Greek portion of Documenta 14. Photo Matthias VLZKE. In the aftermath surrounding the financial problems of Documenta 14, allegedly brought on by administrative oversights, members of Germany's right-wing AfD party, who occupy a section of the Kassel City Council, the area where the event takes place, are now suing the exhibition's organizers, the artistic director Adam Simchik, and Etka Lenkampf, CEO, former mayor and board chairman Bertram Hilgen, and current board chairman and mayor Christian Gazelle, for the purported misappropriation of funds and other offenses, according to Henry Neuendorf of ArtNet. The suit was filed on October 18, even though the independent audit of the exhibition, run by PricewaterhouseCoopers, HASNT, concluded the report is expected to be published sometime next month. Dubious cash transactions, a huge deficit of at least $8.3 million, disproportionate demands of the artistic director, a sloppy board, as well as inadequate separation of the two venues of Kassel and Athens all require an independent investigation by the state prosecutor, said Michael Werl, the AfD's minority leader. Documenta was rescued with emergency loan guarantees in September from the city of Kassel and the state of Hesse after going beyond its budget. In a press conference, the state shareholders' representatives said that they're not sure where the money went. The issues surrounding Documenta have caused considerable strife regarding the show's politicization and the role of art in politics. The women who asked for the creation of a forum that deals with cases of sexual misconduct at Valladolid International Film Week Photo Javier Verez. In the wake of the scandal surrounding Harvey Weinstein, the film producer who has been accused of sexual assault and harassment by more than 50 women within the movie and fashion industries, a group of women within the Spanish film world have asked for the creation of a forum that deals with cases of sexual misconduct, reports Rocco Garcia of El País. The announcement was made during Valladolid International Film Week, a festival that started on October 21 and runs through October 28, 2017 in Valladolid, Spain. The Spanish Film Academy's Board of Directors has promised to look into the matter. The Association of Women Filmmakers and Audiovisual Media, also known as SEMA, created more than a decade ago, will develop a questionnaire that will be used as a guide for defining cases of sexual harassment. In a study conducted by the Union of Actors, 60% of all film roles for actors 35 years of age and younger are given to men, while 40% go to women. The percentage of jobs that go to male actors increases to 67% between the ages of 39 and 45. Between 45 and 64, it goes up to 70%. Being an actor in Spain is complicated, but it's much worse as an actress, said Ana Gracia, a Spanish actress. Coral Cruz, a screenwriter who says she's never been sexually harassed, still acknowledged that she has been pigeonholed as a writer because of her gender, and asked that her fellow female writers work to extricate themselves from the niche many of them have been forced into. Women are able to write stories for the general public. We should not be reduced to only intimate and low-budget films. It makes it difficult for the industry to see us as an example of profitability. We have to rely on ourselves more. Of the 10 Spanish blockbusters from last year, not one had been authored by a woman. The inequality is, alas, widespread. In a SEMA study that will be presented next month, only 3 films directed by women in 2016, from a pool of 31 films directed in Spain that year, received production assistance. And the country's Instituto de la Cinematografía y de las Artes, the Institute of Cinematography and the Arts, an entity overseen by the Ministry of Education, Culture, and Sports, gave 27.7% of its funding to women working on low-budget projects or documentaries. Terry Richardson. Photo Danny Melosho Reuters. Nick Allen and Ben Riley Smith of The Telegraph report that James Woolhouse, the executive vice president and chief operating officer of publishing conglomerate Condé Nast International, in charge of periodicals such as Vogue, Wired, Vanity Fair, and Glamour, sent an email on Monday, October 23, to country presidents, stating that the company will no longer be working with fashion photographer Terry Richardson, and that any projects already commissioned from Richardson but as of yet not published can be killed or substituted with other material. The directive comes in the wake of an article published on October 22 by the Sunday Times, which questions why Richardson, who has faced multiple accusations of sexually abusing and exploiting models over the years, is still being celebrated by the fashion industry. In 2014, when the accusations against the photographer resurfaced, he published a letter in the Huffington Post defending himself and his work, specifically in regards to a 2004 exhibition at DH Projects in New York called Terry World, along with a similarly titled book released that year to coincide with show. I collaborated with consenting adult women who were fully aware of the nature of the work, and as is typical with any project, everyone signed releases. I have never used an offer of work or a threat of rebuke to coerce someone into something that they did not want to do. I give everyone that I work with enough respect to view them as having ownership of their free will and making their decisions. Richardson has shot ad campaigns for Marc Jacobs, Yves Saint Laurent, and Tom Ford, and has worked with many celebrities, including Lady Gaga, Beyoncé, and Miley Cyrus. Richardson directed the music video for Cyrus' Wrecking Ball song in 2013. Cyrus later went on to say that she regretted ever making the video. Creative Times artistic director, Nato Thompson, will step down after a decade at the New York organization to join the recently established Philadelphia Contemporary as its first artistic director. "We're incredibly proud of Nato and everything we accomplished together at Creative Time," acting executive director Alyssa Nitchin said in a statement. "This is an exciting and timely new venture, and we look forward to celebrating his work with Philadelphia Contemporary." Thompson began his career at Creative Time in 2007. During his tenure he worked on a variety of projects, including Pledges of Allegiance, 2017, a serialized commission of 16 flags responding to the current political climate, Pedro Reyes' Democracy, 2016, Kara Walker's A Subtlety, 2014, Trevor Paglen's The Last Pictures, 2012, and the annual Creative Time Summit. Philadelphia Contemporary was founded last year by Harry Philbrick, a former director of the Pennsylvania Academy of Fine Arts. The nonprofit aims to build a non-collecting, multidisciplinary, and sustainable art venue dedicated to contemporary art. While the organization works on finding a permanent home, it will focus on staging site-specific projects around the city. Thompson will officially assume his new role in November. Dennis and Deborah Scholl, longtime collectors and supporters of the arts in Miami, have announced that they will donate 200 contemporary Aboriginal Australian works to the following museums: the Patricia and Philip Frost Art Museum at Florida International University, the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York, and the Nevada Museum of Art in Reno. These three institutions are really engaged in this area and with us, Dennis Scholl told Dane Wooldridge of the Miami Herald. We want the work to be seen. The gift includes pieces by painters such as Walimpiangachi Paltjari, Paddy Bedford, Gulambu Uni Pingu, and Nongunga Marawili. 90 works will be given to both the Frost and the Nevada Museum. The Met will receive 19 pieces. The Scholls have been collecting Aboriginal art more than 12 years ago when they began traveling frequently to Australia for the winemaking business. Dennis is currently the CEO of Art Center South Florida and Deborah is the board chair of the nonprofit exhibition space Locust Projects. In 2012, the couple donated 300 contemporary artworks to Miami's P. Res Museum. It takes a good decade to become really engaged with a genre, Dennis said. Then we think to find a good institutional home for the work. Renowned Turkish peace activist Osman Kavala was detained Wednesday by counter-terrorist police at Ataturk Airport in Istanbul. Kavala is the chairman of Anadolu K. Lieutenant Art Anatolian Culture, a non-profit that fights for artistic rights and cultural diversity. He was returning on a flight from Gaziantep in Turkey's Anatolia region, where he was discussing a project at the Goethe Institute, when he was arrested for unknown reasons. Osman Kavala has worked tirelessly to build reconciliation, dialogue and support the rule of law in Turkey. Release him from detention, pleaded Emma Sinclair Webb, Turkish director of the Human Rights Watch, in a tweet on Thursday. U.S. State Department spokeswoman Heather Nauert said in an interview with Reuters that his arrest was an example of a very alarming trend in Turkey. Since last year's failed military coup, more than 50,000 people, including academics, activists, civil society leaders, human rights defenders, and journalists have been arrested and tens of thousands have been removed from government jobs. Moru have expressed to the Turkish government our concerns on many occasions about this trend. It remains a major concern of ours, she told reporters in Washington, D.C. Kavala is also the founder of the International Peace and Reconciliation Initiative IPRI, which launched in 2012 to facilitate a diplomatic resolution with the Kurdish in Turkey. France, like other European countries, regularly cooperates with Mr. Kavala, who is a regular interlocutor to our embassy. We will be very attentive to developments in this case, said Agnes Romatet, Spain, French Foreign Ministry spokeswoman. Les Henri Matisse. Photo Henri Matisse.net. The Versailles Court of Appeals has ruled that a Parisian dealer must return 2 cutouts by Henri Matisse, worth $4.5 million, to the artist, says Vincent Noce of the art newspaper reports. The family of Matisse's youngest son, the NY gallerist Pierre Matisse, filed a lawsuit against an unnamed party for fraud and the detention of stolen goods in January 2009, after learning that the artist's white palm on red and green snail on blue were to be sold at an impressionist and modern sale at Sotheby's in New York. The works are among hundreds that were allegedly taken from storage at the art supply company Le Faber Fouinet sometime after they were deposited there in 1972. The auction house had attempted to uncover more detailed provenance information for both works. It consulted Matisse expert Wandra de Bryant, who refused to authenticate the cutouts due to suspicions regarding Paris dealer J. Leblay's claim that they were acquired from a friend of Josette Lefebvre, the heiress of the Lefebvre fortune, in the 1960s. According to de Bryant, the pieces were most likely still at Pierre's nice apartment during this time. More after Georges Matisse, the artist's great-grandson, wrote a letter to Sotheby's informing it that the sellers were not the rightful owners of the works. The auction house pulled them from the sale. Rosevan, a Hong Kong-based company representing the seller, then sued Georges. However, the case was dismissed in 2010. The most recent judgment called Rosevan a cover mounted by Leblay in order to mask the origins of the pieces. Les